All right, let's dive right into the NFL's history. We're not just going to look at numbers today, we're going to uncover the incredible stories of grit, of absolute dominance, and the pure drama that have made the league what it is. I'm telling you, these aren't just trivia points, they are the moments that truly forged a legend.
So, here's the game plan for today. We're going to tackle this in 5 parts. First, we'll look at some records that are just, well, jaw-dropping. Then, we'll get into the stories of grit that created legends. After that, we celebrate the icons and dynasties, uncover the NFL's weirder side, and wrap it all up with the ultimate symbol of victory.
Okay, first up, the numbers. And I mean the numbers that are so extreme, they barely seem real. These are those moments that just completely shattered what everyone thought was possible on a football field. So, let's start with a moment from just a few years ago, back in 2021. Picture this. The clock is ticking down, the game is on the line, and the kicker has to trot out there for a kick from a distance that seems, just about impossible. 66 yards. That's right, Justin Tucker hits this thing so perfectly it sails through the air, actually doinks off the crossbar, and bounces in for the win. I mean, come on. That one kick broke a record that had stood for decades. It's proof that in today's NFL, kickers are absolute game-changing weapons. Now, this really shows you the two extremes of the sport. On one side, you've got this wild game from 1966, where the Redskins and Giants combined for a mind-boggling 113 points. But then, on the other side, you've got a game that ended in a 0-0 tie, a defensive battle so perfect that nobody could score. It just goes to show you the wild swings the league has seen over the years.
And speaking of crazy scores, get this. This wasn't just some regular season game, this was the championship. In 1940, the Bears didn't just win, they completely demolished Washington, 73-0. They unveiled this revolutionary T formation offense that the league had literally never seen before. And the records just don't stop. Think about it. A touchdown scored just seconds into a game on the opening kickoff. A team coming back from a 33-point hole to actually win. And of course, Peyton Manning's unbelievable 55-touchdown season. These moments just prove that in the NFL, history can be made in a single play, or it can be built over an entire season.
Okay, so we've seen the pure stats. Now let's get into the stories of human toughness behind them. This is where legends are made, not just by the numbers they put up, but by their sheer force of will. Can you even imagine trying to play football when it's 13 degrees below zero? That's what happened at Lambeau Field in 1967. The Packers and Cowboys played in conditions so brutal the field was basically a sheet of ice, and the ref's whistle actually froze to his lips. This was as much a test of survival as it was a football game. So with just seconds left on the clock, what does Packers quarterback Bart Starr do? He doesn't call a fancy pass or a handoff, nope. He calls his own number, a quarterback sneak into the frozen end zone to win the game. It wasn't just a play. It was this legendary act of pure will that has become one of the most iconic images of toughness in all of sports. And talk about drama, you have the 2007 Patriots. They were perfect. 16-0, they look completely unstoppable. But then they get to the Super Bowl, and the underdog Giants pull off one of the most famous plays ever, David Tyree's helmet catch, to secure one of the biggest upsets in sports history. It just shows that on any given Sunday, anything can happen. 297. Let that number sink in for a second. That's how many consecutive games Brett Favre started at quarterback. In a sport where every single play could be your last for the season, that level of durability, it's just almost miraculous. It's a record that might never be broken. All right, so now let's talk about the players and the teams who didn't just have a few great moments, but who defined entire eras of football. These are the names that are just synonymous with greatness. Barry Sanders, he was an absolute magician with the football. In 1997, he ran for over 2,000 yards, just leaving defenders grasping at air with these impossible jukes and cuts. And then, at the very peak of his powers, he just shockingly retired. It left everyone wondering what other insane records he might have shattered. To put Jerry Rice's dominance into perspective, his record of over 22,000 receiving yards is so far ahead of everybody else that it's almost absurd. It's like having more than 10 full seasons where you put up 2,000 yards. The guy wasn't just talented, his work ethic was legendary, which is why so many people call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Of course, the league has had some incredible dynasties. You had the 70s Steelers with their steel curtain defense winning 4 titles in 6 years. Then, decades later, you had the Belichick and Brady Patriots winning 6. But here's what's really incredible. Neither of those dominant teams, or any other team in history, has ever managed to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. The league is just designed to be so competitive that level of sustained dominance is almost impossible. All right, let's switch gears for a minute and have some fun. Let's look at some of the unique traditions and, frankly, some of the oddities that make the NFL what it is. The league has a pretty rich history of some strange experiments and one-of-a-kind situations. So, you know how every team has a super rich owner, right? Well, not the Green Bay Packers. They are completely unique. The team is actually owned by its fans. Over 500,000 shareholders own a piece of the team, which makes it a true community-run franchise that's just woven into the fabric of the city. Here's a great example of how television has always shaped the game. Back in the day, on old black and white TVs, it was tough to see the ball during night games. So what did the league do? They actually experimented with bright orange footballs. Yeah, it didn't last, but it's a perfect little tidbit that shows how the league has always been adapting. Okay, and for our final chapter, let's step back and reflect on the harsh reality of the sport and the ultimate prize that drives these athletes. Because behind all the glory, there's a story of incredible sacrifice. About 3 years, that's the average length of an NFL player's career. Just 3 years. It's a really brutal reminder that behind the big contracts and all the fame, the window to achieve greatness in this league is incredibly short. Every single snap really does matter. And this is the ultimate prize they're all fighting for. You know, unlike other big sports trophies, the Vince Lombardi Trophy isn't passed around from team to team. Nope. Tiffany & Co. crafts a brand new one every single year, and the winning team gets to keep it forever. It's a permanent symbol of that one season's monumental achievement. So that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. After all the brutal hits, the injuries, and those fleeting careers, what is it that makes that one moment of victory, hoisting that one trophy, worth a lifetime of pain and sacrifice in what might just be the world's most demanding sport?